This guy right here, his name is Greg Gainfort. He's the governor of Montana. And let me just clue you in on something real quick. This guy right here, he is a cop sucker extraordinaire. This guy, he drops down on his knees nightly. And when he goes to pray, he prays to the cops. He prays to pigs. He can't see anything other than backing the blue. See all the pigs he's got on his press conference? And now he's going to suck off each and every one of them. It's crazy to watch. It's pretty disgusting, really. And now I want to get into the video that I want to show you guys, because this is just incredible. To listen to this amount of cop sucking is unbelievable. So here's the video right here. So listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to stop this a few times and I'm going to talk about this. I want you guys to really listen to what this copper is saying. This is pretty egregious, pretty disgusting. So he surrounds himself with pigs, and then I want you to listen to what he's going to say. And then I'll show you how he's just completely blind, tone deaf, and he must be illiterate.
And I'm here today with the leaders who share that mission. Attorney General Austin Knudsen, thank you for joining us. Montana Highway Patrol Colonel Steve Lavin, thank you. And Lee Johnson, Investigations Bureau Chief for the Division of Criminal Investigation. Thank you, Lee. Also, I'm proud to be here with 5 Montana Highway Patrol troopers who serve our state sacrificially. Each of these troopers put their lives on the line each and every day to protect our communities. And I speak for all Montanans when I say we back the blue.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You absolutely do not speak for all Montanans when you say that we back the blue. No, you don't. Scumbag, pig, fraud. Let me show you. Let me show you. I'm going to come back to that video, but let me just show you. So I'm saying these things that we don't all back the blue. We don't. Matter of fact, just so you know, if you really want to understand, I'll show you the actual numbers. Let me show you the numbers of people who do not back the blue. America's less confident in police than ever before. Take a look at the numbers. So this is what they're just saying. Confidence in the quality of law enforcement. See, that's the whole problem. Media, stop calling them law enforcement. Mainstream media, stop calling them law enforcement. They're not. They're peace officers. Has dropped among surveyed Americans following Tyree Nichols' fatal beating, according to the new poll conducted by the Washington Post and ABC. A national trend of declining trust in police has been tracking up for years. For years. The ABC poll, which surveyed over 1,000 U.S. adults between January 27th and February 1st, finds only 39% of those surveyed are confident in police, and police are properly trained to use excessive force. This is the lowest level of confidence in police training in the ABC poll has ever recorded, down 5% from 2021 and 15% from 2014. A 2022 Gallup poll found that 45% of surveyed American adults are confident in the police, down 3% from the previous of 48% following the murder of George Floyd. So, Greg, it looks like you're full of crap. You don't speak for all Montanans. 50% of Montanans don't trust those pigs you're surrounded yourself with. But this is what we get in America. This is what we get. You just saw it. A guy gets up there and says, we back the blue. Who's we? You got a turd in your pocket? You and your turd back the blue? Because for the most part, we don't back the blue. We don't like the cops. And so what they do is they arrest people, charge them with felonies, and then they can't vote to get rid of the horrible leader that Greg Gainfort is. And by the way, I'm going to break down his biography in just 1 second. But you got to keep listening. This guy cop sucks all the way. I mean, he's got his lips all the way around that cop stick, and he is just sucking, bro.
They need and deserve our support now more than ever before.
Oh, they need and deserve our support now more than ever, because we can see on video that cops are scum. Now we need to support them more than ever before. No, confidence is going like this, Gregor. It's going like this, buddy. You're a scumbag, bro. I hope you lose your re-election because of this. He's such a scumbag piece of shit. Just listening to this guy talk.
Violent crime recently has threatened the lives of law enforcement officers and Montanans alike.
What a lie. What an absolute lie. It's too damn bad we don't get to see the headlines of that. Because you know what's going to happen in our country if pieces of shit like Greg continue to push cops? There's going to be a civil war. Because I'm not accepting going to live in a dungeon. I haven't done anything wrong to ever live in a dungeon. I do not accept being locked into a dungeon. I do not accept it. And pretty soon, you filthy pigs are going to arrest the wrong person, and you're going to end up in a civil war. And this filthy scumbag, Greg Gainfort, law enforcement's in danger. What a bullshit lie. You are such a lying scumbag. Law enforcement is not in danger. We are. We're in danger. They're creating a military base for cops in Atlanta called Cop City. We've got to stop it.
A recent string of shootings directed at law enforcement officers in Billings, St. Regis, and Great Falls bear this out.
So why do you think that's happening? If there's shootings in 3 different cities in Montana, why do you think that's happening? And this guy in Montana is going to pack Montana with more pigs? Montanans, I hope you guys stand up. Like, I can't even get my head around it. I can't even understand how this guy sits up here and says, our cops are in danger. We need more pigs. Just wait. You're going to hear him say that right now. He's going to say, we're hiring a bunch more pigs, more prosecutors to lock up more people. Why not say you're going to build more prisons and jails, Greg?
Tragically, the murder rate in Billings doubled in 2022. And is the second highest of the past decade, trailing only the 2020 pandemic year.
Okay, so here's the part that politicians, just for some reason, they can't put things together. Maybe the brand of policing, the brand of rights protectors, peace officers, who call themselves law enforcement, and they're infatuated with being called enforcers. Maybe that brand is dead. Maybe it's the brand that you guys are pushing on people that's making people more violent. Because I'm telling you now, I'm not living in a dungeon. And if I go to a dungeon, when I get out of the dungeon, it's going to be bad. I'm not going to live in a dungeon. You're not locking me up because I want my rights. And if you do, well, then fine. Then you know what? I'm a leader. I will lead and I will change this system. And if it has to be the way it has to be, I'm telling you all, I'm warning you all, this country, it's not me. I didn't do this. The cops of this country and the politicians of this country have created this bullshit system. It's going to go to a civil war. You're going to arrest the wrong leader, the wrong person. And you know what's going to happen? You think cops are being shot at in those 3 towns in Montana? It's going to get worse. You keep putting cops on top of us versus them, Cop City, where they get to train militaristically to arrest us in a POW style, where they then tell us to look down at the ground. You can't look left. You can't look right. I can't look to my left or right. You want total dominion over everything I do? It's going to go to a civil war because of politicians like Greg Gainfort.
Unfortunately, violent crime is not unique to our communities. It's rising across the entire country.
Yes, cops abuse us and hurt us and beat us and kick us on camera every day. And when people see abusive behavior, they mimic it. Anything you see on camera will be mimicked. It will be repeated. We are seeing the violent thug pigs that these guys are, and it's being repeated in society. The reason we have a violent, horrible society is because of police, because of law enforcers in our country.
Its impacts are far-reaching on children, on families, and on our communities.
He doesn't care when someone gets ripped from their car in front of their children and they're screaming, "Sir, please, why are you doing this? No, sir, you don't have a driver's license. Sir, please stop hitting me. Why are you hitting my daddy? Why are you hitting my daddy?" He has no problem with that, but he wants to add more cops for the children.
And without question, this crisis requires urgent action from all of us.
So do the same thing we've been doing. Just keep on pumping the system full of pigs and oppression.
We've also seen a dramatic increase in drug-related and violent crime nationwide and in Montana since the pandemic.
And maybe criminalizing drugs, criminalizing human beings who are addicted to drugs, creating a penal system that could be compared to the mid-centuries, to the 1500s, to when they were to the Spanish Inquisitions. We have a prison system where they are doing the jail system, where you have no rights once you enter into a facility for incarceration or corrections. You don't have any rights once you're in that dungeon. And then the media, TV shows are doing exposés on prison guards and cops and showing how great they are. And then when a freedom fighter comes along, they want to be upset that I'm a hardcore, diehard mother, right? They want to be so mad that I'm that way. Who are you going to send to Washington? Who are you going to send to governorship? This chump ass Zilla, this guy? The system's broken. Crime's never been worse. Violent crime's never been worse. Drug addiction, child abuse, child pornography, gambling, prostitution. It's never been worse. So you know what we're going to do? The same thing we've been doing for 2 centuries. We're going to pack it full of more cops. And of course, then it's going to get better.
3 times the amount of fentanyl was seized in 2022 compared to 2021.
And the cops are the biggest dealers of fentanyl in America. The #1 drug dealer in America is cops, and he wants to hire more cops. That's a fact. The #1, who was the leader of the Bloods and the Crips that we know from the 80s? Cops were. Who was the leader of the alcohol gangs? It was not Al Capone. It was not Lucky Luciano. The police were the head of the alcohol gangs. How do we know this? From the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which is then going to create the gun control laws of United States versus Miller, whatever. So that's going to create the gun control laws is based off the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And who did the St. Valentine's Day Massacre? Cops. Cops did. The biggest alcohol swindlers in America were these nasty pigs. And you can look that up. Olmsted versus United States, 1927. You can look up the things I'm saying.
Nearly an 11,000% increase in fentanyl seizures by anti-drug task forces since 2019.
And then the anti-drug task forces like Bradley Spulgeric in Ironton, Ohio, they take it home. I was just holding it. You think I could have 8 grams of fentanyl and 20 grams of meth and then tell the peace officers, I was just holding it. I was taking it home. That's all I was doing. He's talking about 11,000 increase in fentanyl. I'm talking about a cop who I investigated in Ironton, Ohio last year, who was then a few months later arrested for having 20 grams of meth and 8 grams of fentanyl. And this disgusting politician wants to hire a bunch more pigs. Who's the biggest fentanyl dealer in America? Cops are. The anti-drug task force are the dealers. Haven't we figured this BS out yet? It's such a freaking lie. This guy's sitting up here saying, oh, we got to get more cops in here. They're dealing the drugs, you dunce.
The fentanyl crisis is a direct consequence of our nation's insecure southern border.
No, it's not. It is not. It's a direct consequence of criminalizing drugs. You criminalized drugs, which created cartels, and then you stripped us of our gun rights when you prohibited alcohol in 1920. So then you can't drive down the road in your car anymore. Case of Carroll versus United States. And how well is it working? How are things going in our country? Alcohol abuse, drug abuse, child pornography, name it. It's all worse.
President Biden and members of Congress must secure our southern border.
It's got nothing to do with what's going on in our country. Our country's imploding because of pigs. Every brand of violence, all the drugs, almost everything bad happening in our country is because we gave one class of people sovereign citizenship. They don't have to follow any laws, and there's nobody to check on them. This is the repeat. The fentanyl and the pain pill epidemic going on is a repeat of the 1920 prohibition, where the cops who have no third-party oversight were the biggest alcohol dealers and smugglers in America. And now the same thing is happening. We can't solve the problem because the anti-drug enforcement are the drug dealers. These pigs here, guarantee you at least 3 of these 4 pigs has a drop gun or a drop drug.
Now, the safety of our communities, our families, and our people depend on it.
No, it doesn't though. It doesn't. If you decriminalize drugs, take away the profit motivation for the government to lock people in dungeons, then you don't have a drug problem anymore. because people then go and get help and they go, man, I'm really craving some more drugs. But there's no one to talk to because right now you might go to jail. We're going to put you in this room and lock you in there for your safety. That's jail.
These drugs pouring into our communities from the southern border.
They're not. They're being dealt in your town by the police. The police are bringing the drugs into your town. The Seabury Commission, the Wickersham Commission, the Knapp Commission, the Mullen Commission, they all say the same thing. The cops are the biggest drug dealers in America.
Threaten public safety, tear families apart.
Yes, they do. Cops threaten public safety and tear families apart. I agree with you there, Greg.
And too often leave family members grieving for a loved one.
Exactly. Cops are murdering, raping, and kidnapping our friends and family from the streets and leaving us grieving for our loved ones. So let's keep listening to this piece of garbage. If you're in Montana, this is your governor. He wants more pigs. He thinks more pigs is going to make Montana safer.
That they've lost. Rather than sitting idly by and wondering when violent and drug-related crime will go away, we are taking action. As you all know, there's a lot in our budget for Montana families. Our budget isn't just about cutting Montana's income and property taxes by over $1 billion and using our surplus responsibly. It's also about making our families and communities stronger. Our budget spurs job creation, boosts education, and opens the door of greater opportunity for hardworking Montanans. But better opportunities, from more good-paying jobs to investments in education to greater access to affordable workforce housing, don't mean much when Montanans look over their shoulders
and see cops. And the cops are hiding, and the cops are trying to get me and charge me and arrest me. And that's what cops do. Look at that cop on the far left with his handlebar mustache standing there. How many people has he cheated? Look at the other cop on the far right with his handlebar mustache. How many people has he cheated? How many reports has he lied on?
Worried about the safety of their community.
Yeah, I'm worried about the safety of my community when there's pigs around. I'm not afraid of people. The only thing I have to fear are pigs. Just pigs. That's all I have to be afraid of.
That's why building safer, stronger communities is another key pillar of our budget.
So building safer, stronger communities is a pillar of your budget. How are you going to do that?
To make Montana communities safer, we've made addressing this crisis a top priority. Over the last year, I've hosted 8 public safety roundtables around the state. At them, I heard from local officials, law enforcement officers.
Law enforcement. Stop calling them. They're not law enforcers. Nobody has a law enforcement agreement. Nobody. They have a peace officer certificate. Stop it. Like everybody here, you have to tell other people, stop calling them that. They're not law enforcers.
Officers, treatment providers, and nonprofit leaders. They've told me what's working and what's not working, and how we can partner to make our communities safer and stronger.
Well, stop. We're not partnering. You're just saying you're going to take our money and build more prisons, hire more pigs. That's all you're saying. This isn't a partnership. Like I said, he's deciding. He's the executive in charge. You may not like me. That's fine. He's deciding for everybody. Do you get it? He's just making the decision as the executive. This is the way the budget's going to go. After talking to these people and talking to those people, I'm going to change the budget. For what?
We've also worked closely with Attorney General Knudsen, who's been a real leader in confronting this problem.
Has he? What's his bio? Is he a previous pig?
What we've heard informed our budget for Montana families. To ensure we're cracking down on criminals.
Cracking down. We've been hearing that since the 80s. Cops are cracking down on criminals. Well, you created laws that make us criminal. Then you put us in a dungeon. You make us have driver's licenses. You make us do all these things so that you're always going to be in violation of the law in one way or another. And then you get politicians like Greg Gainfort who will go, cops are cracking down. Are they cracking down? Is that what's happening as you arrest 1% of all Americans?
Our budget supports law enforcement.
Whoa. Our budget supports.
To ensure we're cracking down on criminals, our budget supports law enforcement.
So this guy started off by saying, myself and all Montanans, we back the blue. No, 50% of Montanans don't. All over the country, people don't like, trust, or respect cops anywhere. So Your budget supports the ability for cops to crack down on criminals. But how's that been going? We've been doing it your way for 2 centuries. How's it working? It's not. It's not working.
Our budget supports law enforcement. Our budget funds new highway patrol troopers, prosecutors, criminal investigators at the Montana Department of Justice.
So that you can have more cops hiding on the side of the road to get you. More criminal investigators based on their suspicion. So if crime is rampant, then crime would be smash and grab. You don't need crime investigators for smash and grab. You need a camera. You need a camera system to follow the people who smash and grab. Ah, gosh, Big Brother, if we have access to the cameras, then there's no Big Brother.
The criminal investigation agents will focus on drug trafficking, human trafficking, narcotics, major crimes, and crimes against children.
Okay, so 2 of the 4 were for drugs. So it's all about arresting people and catching the bad drug dealer. But there's not going to be any bad drug dealers because drug dealers aren't inherently bad. They provide a service based on supply and demand. He's going to get them. We've arrested our way out of the drug problem so far, Greg. It's worked out great. Getting more cops, getting more prosecutors, getting more criminal investigators to target narcotics brings Montana more money through the 1994 crime bill, Greg. You can fool some people. You can't fool all of us. The 1994 crime bill, federally, any cop shop that gets an arrest for narcotics, for drugs, for human trafficking, using drugs, they get more money from the federal government. You're a liar, Greg, and you're a piece of garbage. And so far, have we arrested our way out of the drug problem? Let me know. Just let me know in the comments. Have we arrested our way out of it? Has it worked out just great?
Patrol troopers will combat violent crime and strengthen our drug interdiction programs. Crimes and crimes against children, human trafficking, narcotics, major crimes, and crimes against children.
Listen to this next part. Listen to this absolute bald-faced lie. Listen to what he says that Highway Patrol is going to do.
And the new Highway Patrol troopers will combat violent crime and strengthen our drug interdiction programs.
Just wrap that around your head real quick. Our new highway troopers will battle violent crime and drug. You're going to park those guys on the side of the road to pull people over for no reason, where you can warrantlessly search their car from a law created by the Supreme Court in 1925 called Carroll versus United States that strips away our Fourth Amendment so cops can search your car so they can find some baby powder or gum or you name it. And they'll say, oh, we think this is meth or fentanyl, impound the person's car, take their children away from them, lock them in dungeons, and later find out it was yogurt. Hiring more pigs is the opposite of what we need. The opposite.
Unfortunately, the budget bill that was sent to the Senate does not fulfill our full request for public safety.
For cops. Did you hear that? The bill sent to the Senate does not fulfill enough money for cops. He wants more cops. Montanans, you guys are in trouble.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
Combating violent crime and building safer, stronger communities will take investments.
Invest in more cops.
Full request for public safety. Let's be clear. Combating violent crime and building safer, stronger communities will take investments.
Investments in getting more cops who are the violence, who are the danger, who are the fear in our country. The worst thing in our country is a cop. I told that pig, cute little girl, 25 years old, real cute, you made the worst choice of your life. You could have chosen to be a prostitute or a stripper, and I'd have more respect for you. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. You sign up to be a pig? I don't have any respect for you. Why would I? You're the horrible person in our country. You're the worst person in America.
Our budget makes those necessary investments.
More cops. It's not working the way they're doing it. More training equals more violence, more learning how to scream, stop resisting so that it's on the recording so that when other people give their testimony, well, we just heard the cops screaming, stop resisting. And then that's all the jury hears, which is full of Karens and Kevins.
I urge the Senate to restore the new highway patrol troopers, prosecutors, and criminal investigators that we proposed and Montana needs. Let's get it done. I also want to commend Representative Marta Bergatolio
She's a cop sucker.
for advocating the use of marijuana revenue to boost funding for law enforcement.
Listen,
I also want to commend Representative Marta Bergatolio for advocating the use of marijuana revenue to boost funding for law enforcement, correctional officers, and treatment courts.
unbelievable. You guys keep electing rich people, or the sons of daughters are rich people, or the politician sons or daughters. And this is what you get. This is a rich dude. I'm going to go his biography in a second.
Let's get that done too. Now, I want to invite Attorney General Austin Knudsen to speak about the importance of these investments.
One second. I'm going to cut this off in 1 second. Because I can only listen to about 1 minute of this, and he's such a cop sucker. It's unbelievable.
First of all, I want to thank Governor Gianforte and his staff for putting this together. Thank Colonel Lavin of the Highway Patrol.
I want to thank them for putting this together, that we get more money for prosecutors, which makes the attorney general's position more powerful. I want to thank the governor for putting more power to me. Now I want to thank the pigs who are going to hire more pigs. That gives me more power, because the attorney general of Montana is the top cop of Montana.
DCI Major Crimes Chief Lee Johnson, for everything these two gentlemen and their teams are doing to combat crime and get drugs off the street in Montana.
They are the crime. Those cops are the crime. They're the problem. You're not solving the drug problem by getting drugs off the street. It's not solving anything. Tell me if I'm wrong. It's not solving a damn thing.
Drugs, and especially fentanyl, are causing a crisis in Montana. And
that Bradley Spoljarek had 8 grams at his house. So a cop in Ohio had 8 grams at his house. No other cops would profit off of the drug industry. None of them. Only Bradley Spoljarek in Ironton.
it's resulting in a huge violent crime increase in the state of Montana as well.
No, it's not. What's resulting in a huge violent crime increase is the criminalization of drugs. You created gangs and drug cartels by criminalizing drugs in Montana. You wouldn't have any gangs or violence in Montana if you took away if you decriminalized drugs. So he's up there lying to all the stupid people who are just going to go, oh, okay, more cops and we're going to have less of a drug problem. We've been doing this for 50 years. Nothing's changed. It's 50 years. Nixon declared war on drugs in 1971. It's 2023, 52 years. We've been doing the same thing, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I couldn't even get through this whole press conference.
Well, as the governor said, we know where these drugs are coming from.
They're coming from the cops. The cops are the drug dealers. I'm sorry. If you didn't read the police commissions that are available on deletelaws.com for free, you can read 3 police commissions that are on my website for free. I don't charge a dime for them. Go to deletelaws.com, go to periodicals and download them and read the 3 police commissions. Cops are the biggest drug dealers in America. These are the people bringing in the fentanyl.
This is not a question. They're coming from the southern border.
No, they're not. The cops are bringing them in. The way they get into prisons and jails is through the prison guards. I'm not calling them correctional officers because they don't correct a damn thing. They pad their own pockets. They're parasites.
They're coming from primarily 2 Mexican drug cartels
that you created by criminalizing drugs. You created these drug cartels and you wonder why they're flourishing. You keep on going, more criminalization, more cops. You're building up your army. They build up their army. You decriminalize drugs. There's no place for them to fight, idiot.
Who are openly operating in the state of Montana.
Oh, just shut up, bro. You're such a lying fraud. It just makes me sick. I saw this and I was like, this is such crap. Listen, I got to get the flock out of here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, Gators.